What makes Fairway the most unique market in New York City? We provide the best selection, period. 60 varieties of olives, 70 custom roasted coffees, 80 selections of fresh fish, 90 types of preserved pickles, 135 olive oils, and over 250 international cheeses. How unique is that? Fairway, like no other market. Visit your local Fairway today.
It's 50 years of the ShopRite Can sale. 5 decades of unbeatable deals and this unforgettable song.
Now, ShopRite does the can, selling lots of brands of everything in cans.
Today it's repossession cash, so the ShopRite Can Dash.
You'll save so much on every brand.
Now's the time to shop at ShopRite's Can Dash.
Now's the time to stock up and save. Now's the time to stock up and celebrate.
Celebrating the 50th anniversary of the ShopRite Can sale. Stock up and save at ShopRite.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthma Core Studios near Detroit, Michigan. It's unregimented.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
And now, here are your hosts.
221. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Rich. And
that was a close one.
If the government shut down over the weekend, did it save any money? That is the question.
I think we have talked about this before. Like, when the government shuts down, I don't imagine that it saves any money at all. If anything, I understand that there's parks get shut down and employees are furloughed, but it's probably just going to. It doesn't mean that there's any less work to do, right? The government still has plenty of paperwork and things to stamp and file and people to spy on. So everyone's just getting overtime when they come back to work.
Nothing to accomplish. Yes.
Well, the military was paid. Well, the military was paid up till February 1st. So the military,
right? Because they had a reserve. Yeah.
Yeah, and the mail ran on Monday, didn't it?
Sure did.
And they didn't
because
settle.
These institutions that we deem absolutely important, they have a surplus in their budget to cover these types of things. There's many other parts of the government, though, that apparently our parks that run a razor-thin budget and do not have the room to suffer even a short shutdown. But yeah, all the libertarians online were like, "Oh yay, shut down the government!" Like, do you think that's equating to some sort of less spending by the government? Then you're deluded. The government's probably just spending just as much, and if not more, when the government is back up and running.
It seems to happen once a term since W was in office.
Actually, I think it started under Clinton. Wasn't it his second term? There was a government shutdown for a little bit there, and then it happened. I know it happened under Obama.
It started when they started shutting down the filibuster. The budget vote was one of the few remaining votes that was deemed to have 60 votes in order to get passed. So that's why it's used as this issue. It's where a minority can press its advantage. So that's really what it's about. I mean, there was very little, I shouldn't say nothing, but there was very little in the actual budget that was up for debate outside of the two issues that the sides were fighting over. It was, originally it was CHIP, but they settled that, at least temporarily. But it's DACA versus the wall. The left wants the protection of people who were brought into this country illegally when they were minors, and offering a path of citizenship for those people. And Trump wants his wall. And that's what this shutdown was about. That's what all these negotiations are. I mean, it's not gone away. It's been moved off the hot burner onto the back burner, but it's going to come up in, it's going to be like 2 weeks or something, 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, because they got it through the end of the month. They have a temporary...
sometime during the beginning of February, they're going to have to revisit this again.
That's on me. Well, they've been doing this. They've been doing stopgap measures with the budget for...
Wait. What's going on over there? That's really loud on our end. I don't know if that's loud to you, Rich.
I barely heard it.
Oh, okay. I don't know why it's so loud on mine.
That's a medley from 30 Rock of Shut It Down.
That's what we look like. Shut it down.
I think you get a good Peter Dinklage shut it down probably in this montage somewhere.
Fucking NPR. What are they even going to report on? They sent somebody to a national park that was closed. And people were like, "Oh, I can't get a physical map of the local area." Okay. Moving on. And if a bear eats me, apparently it's nobody's going to find my body until the government reopens.
Hey, what are you going to report on Monday morning? Well, the government was shut down on Saturday and Sunday. Like normal.
Well, no, I mean, it doesn't normally shut down over the weekend.
Thanks for shitting on the joke, but you are correct.
Well, still, we have no long-term budget. We haven't had any long-term budget. Excuse me, is this just going to become the new norm? Anytime a political party refuses to sit down at the negotiating table, they throw a fucking temper tantrum, shuts down for a few days, people make memes blaming the other party, and then it's business as usual 72 hours later.
Right.
Yeah, because like any shutdown, when their paycheck gets threatened, they figure shit out real quick.
Well, yeah, there are plenty of people to point that out, that, you know, the lawmakers still get their checks, whether the government is open or not. So what does it really mean?
Well, we all know, look, it's just like with healthcare. They're going to get paid. First of all, you can take their paychecks. They don't give a fuck. That's not where they make their money. They make their money off of lobbyists. They don't give a fuck about that paycheck. That paycheck's just...
Yeah.
You know what that paycheck is? That's Tony Soprano's job at the fucking garbage dump. That's something to show to the fucking IRS to keep them off your back. These fuckers are crooked as a dog's hind leg and just taking money left and right from lobbyists. They don't give a fuck about a paycheck. Just like they don't give a fuck about health care.
Yeah.
They act like they
got
do.
Like uncashed paychecks just in their glove compartment. Like, oh, I forgot I had these. They just go right into the bank and just sit there.
I mean, I'd take it a step further. Check all the trunks of all their cars. I bet you there's a suitcase with fucking cash in there.
Or dead hooker.
Yeah.
Where if we're driving around with $10,000 in cash in a suitcase and a cop finds it, they confiscate it until we can prove where we got it. Oh, I'm sorry, Congressman. Please go ahead. You can go.
I'm late with 401k. I can have that money, officer. Give it back.
Try that. Yeah, okay. You try that shit in certain neighborhoods. We'll see if that works.
Why would you carry around 10k cash? That's just dumb.
Doesn't matter. It's your fucking. Yeah. The point is that you can do this shit legally, but they're going to find a way to fuck you over. But the government, they don't give a fuck. They're above the law. That's to me. That's what this shutdown.
They are the law.
That's what this shutdown showed us. And all these lemmings that are going, oh, it's the Republicans, oh, it's the Democrats. It's both of them.
Yeah.
And you idiots cheering for each side like it's a goddamn motherfucking sports team are the problem. Stop it.
There was a whole war on Twitter over calling it hashtag Trump shutdown or Schumer shutdown. And, I mean, at least on Twitter, Trump shutdown won. But, it's a negotiation that fell apart. Both sides are responsible, right? It's like a divorce. Like somebody may have cheated, but ultimately it was two people not being able to work shit out. So there's responsibility on both sides in any situation. So what this really is about, and I think more so like Democrats use DACA because they know it tracks with their voters. And the wall is the visual representation of the Trump presidency and how successful it's going to be. So even who knows if we're going to see any kind of wall, what it's going to look like. You know, they're even modifying now what they define as a wall, which could just be a fence. And they're looking for an amount of money that's not going to cover anywhere near the full span of the border like Trump has been talking about. So it's just the Republicans want to get at least some money out of this budget devoted to the wall so they can point to it and show it as progress and counter this idea that
okay, Ralphie,
which is kind of ironic, isn't it? Because didn't Trump run on the fact that Mexico is going to pay for this wall?
Yeah,
Yes.
what happened to that?
And now having taxpayers pay for the wall is spun as a success from Republicans.
I swear to God.
It's a big fucking fail in my book.
Trump and his supporters have the most dysfunctional relationship I've ever seen. It's like the guy who constantly cheats, doesn't even hide it anymore, and the wife just accepts it. Like, Trump just lies and bullshits, and they just go, oh, what can you expect? What am I going to do? Leave him? I'm 50. No one wants this dried up pussy. I don't have any options.
But the key is always, the key is to Trump, to seeing what he's really about, is to merely track what he's consistent about. He's all over the map on everything. Even his own investigation, he can't keep his own story straight. And constantly, this week reporters asked him in kind of a impromptu thing where they all shot out questions at him, whether he was going to testify, and he's talking, oh, yeah, I'm going to testify, definitely. Oh, under oath, yeah, definitely. No problem, nothing to hide here. As long as my lawyers let me do it. And, of course, his lawyers are like, we haven't agreed to any of that. We don't,
lawyers,
that's not what he meant.
His lawyers were heard asking him, are you retarded?
Yeah. Right, so, Trump can keep a lot of things straight because these are things that have multiple stories to him. There's the truth and there's Trump's truth. And it's not always easy keeping that straight. But
the tremendous truth.
Right. But he's amazingly consistent on immigration, on trade, on religious protection, which hasn't been, a lot of talk about abortion, but the subject has been brought up. And he said recently that we need to look again at Roe v. Wade, which is very
look at it, go, yes, that's, yep, there it is, and then leave it alone. I hope all you do is look at it.
So as long as Trump remains consistent on those three issues, really, in my mind, it's religious protection, immigration, and trade, or what they see as job protection. A lot of Americans see the two as one and the same. That by having good trade policy, you're automatically going to have good jobs available in the U.S. They might be in a coal mine, but hey, it's a job.
Thought they were going to be at Carrier. They've lost 20,000 jobs or something since he said he was going to. Mm-hmm. So he made that deal or whatever during the. Was that even during his presidency? Or was that during the? No, it had to be during.
That was Yeah, it was during the election. He was talking because he was bragging about how, look, I'm not even president. I'm already getting deals done.
Yeah, wasn't it after he was elected, but before he was inaugurated?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So.
You're absolutely right, Rich. I had it wrong. It wasn't before he got elected. It was before he was inaugurated. He wasn't officially president yet.
Yeah, and I just remember because of the story behind it was, what was it? They ended up paying, basically the government ended up paying them for, I can't remember the exact number, to create what was it? Was it 20,000 or 2,000 jobs? It was 2,000, wasn't it? No, if it was 20,000, I think I remember that number. And the government ended up paying Carrier.
All I remember is it being kind of a mad number. So I want to lean towards 2,000.
2,000? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 20,000 I'd have been okay. But yeah, I remember the amount the government had to pay, whether through subsidies or tax breaks or whatever the fuck, to Carrier. I was like, that's not even an equal trade. That doesn't
even
make
if we were
sense.
to say that it's 20,000, that's low for the average growth of the U.S. in general over the course of 1 month. If you added 20,000 jobs to the economy over the course of a month, they'd be like, well, we're not mad at you.
The only way, maybe in Delaware,
growth.
that's a big deal.
Right.
We're in Delaware, it's 20,000 jobs.
Well, have you guys been following? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack.
I was just going to say that whole thing just smacked of that was the first in a long line of really this is what you're bragging about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I pay my bills. You're supposed to. You know what the fuck? You want a cookie for doing what you're supposed to do? No. President Trump runs on props. That's for sure.
Well, we've kind of created this vision of the president as a job creator, even though, usually presidents don't have this direct negotiation with companies, especially not open in public like Trump was doing. And, there's things that a president can do, and his administration, his or her administration, could do to have an environment where an economy can thrive, but you can't directly create jobs. But that's what we expect of a president. So that's what he's going to directly do is go, look, here are jobs that I am creating. Here are jobs. But he put a I don't know if this is so much
these jobs.
I don't know if this is so much a job protection or trade protection thing as it was anti anything Obama was for thing, but the 30% tariffs on imported solar panels. What is the point of that? To protect the solar panels that we're making here in the U.S.? I mean, the direct result of it is probably going to be that there's not going to be as many people installing solar panels because we're already, working with a situation where it might not even really be profitable. Solar panels might be something that you do just as like an accessory to your house to show that you are some sort of eco-conscious person, right? But it's not exactly practical for every application just yet. And at this point, I mean, that could kill an industry. To what end? I don't even understand this. It seems so petty, doesn't it?
Have we come to expect anything else from this administration?
This is the new world where nothing shocks me anymore. Like what? I am numb. I'm impervious to pain.
I mean, one of the things that really made me kind of open my eyes to whether I like it or not, I have to deal with the fact that we are switching. We're there, and no matter how hard Trump tries to pull us back away from it into isolationism, we're in a global economy. Period. I don't care how much you try to buy American, unless it's you watch someone chop down a tree with American-made fucking tools and craft you something out of wood with their bare hands. You're not getting anything 100% American. Cars that are built here, parts are built overseas. Cars that are built overseas, parts are built here and shipped there. That's just the nature of the economy at this point in time. And for him to act like, oh well, we're gonna put this 30% tariff on these imports for these parts. Okay, but what about the people here that are making parts that are going into those solar panels that are being shipped over there? I mean, I don't have any
installers. There's going to be people that are installing solar panels in the U.S. that will lose jobs because not as many people will be installing them.
And on top of it, once again, thank you, President Trump, for shooting any type of attempt to use forward thinking and technology and drag us back into the fucking late 1900s. I mean, I guess yes. Donald Trump's perfect world is run by. It's a steampunk world run by coal, I guess. I don't know.
Yes,
it's a perfect
exactly.
world. I don't know.
Right, because he's representing a section of society that's been told that the path that we're currently on is true progress, that we are making strides in this country, and not everybody's liking the direction that the country's going. So they just now associate any sort of progress. Well, there must be something wrong with it. There was nothing wrong with the way we were doing things before, right? So now any kind of progress has to be bad.
Well, I mean, you can't reason with people like that. All you can do is just nod and go, "That's nice."
Let blacks and women start voting, and shit gets crazy.
Well, we've talked about it, but it really is the sad truth is that it's pulling teeth in the middle of a conversation to try to get someone who feels And it feels like, oh, well, I'm losing my job, and the coal industry's going away, and my whole family's worked in coal all our lives. What are we going to do? How do you explain to them, you understand that this is a dead technology, right? I mean, the risk to the average coal miner, you can't tell me it's worth what they're getting paid.
I just get out a pad and a paper and write down things for me that are powered by coal nowadays. Go. Fill up every line on that legal pad.
I like the idea that the coal miner, he's like a pirate, right? He's such a specific type of person suited for this job that he just can't do anything else. Like, if you take a pirate off the pirate ship and put him behind the register, he wouldn't know what to fucking do. He wouldn't know how to talk to customers. Like, he's untrainable. That's how he grew up. He was kidnapped as a child and taken down into a coal mine and was raised there in the dark. And he doesn't know how to operate in the real world. These are people with fucking skills like any other manual labor job that can easily be applied to any number of. I mean, don't talk about how many coal miners you're going to keep in their jobs or how many coal mining jobs you're going to create. Talk about how you're going to get people out of the coal mines and onto working on our bridges and our roads and all this infrastructure that Trump was talking about that we haven't seen hide nor hair of. That would be a real plan.
Didn't
these people
the freeway catch on fire in Atlanta?
Coal mining doesn't need to be this way of life where, like, I don't know what else I'm going to do. Like, what else? You could do literally anything in the fucking world, and it would be better than the job that you had.
Look at Pittsburgh. When the steel industry went away, Pittsburgh's turned into a tech town. They evolved. They moved on.
If you have people that are a resource and not directly tied to one industry, then you can have any number of businesses be attracted to that area. You have opportunities. If you consider that all you have here is a coal mine, and if we shut that coal mine down, this whole town is going to go out of business. Well, I mean, if that's what you're going to attach your life to is coal mining, well, then this is called natural selection, right? Mm-hmm. This is what what I crowed about should have happened to the auto industry under Obama, even though it probably would have totally tanked our economy even more. Does not bail their asses out for making shitty products. How else do you have a so-called major brain
You made
fart.
the Pontiac Aztec. You sold that to us for a long time.
Cruiser. These blights are still on our roads, reminding us.
But that shit was a good idea.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm ranting now. I feel like I'm way off topic. Have you guys kept up with the Russia investigation? It seems to be really heating up this week.
I know Trump said he looks forward to his interview or whatever.
Well, he was asked that specifically because we knew this was going to be in question at some point. It's been negotiated, certainly, on whether or not Trump will testify and under what circumstances. But it was reported that Mueller was to the point where he was looking at Trump next to question. So he was asked by reporters in basically response to that, whether he would be all right with testifying and whether it would be so under oath. So we know that if we're getting to the point where whether Trump testifies or not, that is the next step in the investigation. That does feel like not a wrapping up, but certainly a pinnacle, a zenith in an investigation where everything else is going to be just putting all the pieces together, it would seem. If this is, because this has all been kept quite secret. We have no real idea what the investigation looks like.
I did see an alert that said Trump wanted to fire him in July and then backed off.
I saw, right before, I think it was Washington Post that hit with that story right before we started recording, that was a point of contention in the White House that almost ended with a lot of people quitting. And it totally makes sense because there were a lot of stories around that time of people saying, well, unnamed sources in the White House are saying that John Kelly is going to leave, that, I don't know, just many people in the cabinet just exiting from the White House, and then it all seemed to have blown over. And that may have been what it was. I mean, this is the first that I've heard any direct reporting about the firing of Mueller. Everything else seems to have been hearsay. I don't know the sources on this because I haven't even read the story yet. But we also know that, they're openly going after Andrew McCabe, who is the guy that they put in place when they fired Comey. Right? He's the deputy director of the FBI. Andrew McCabe was brought into the Oval Office to talk to the president, and he was asked who he voted for. And there's stories about him, pressure being put on him to do something to squash the Russia investigation. The other way that you can tell that things are really starting to heat up is the reaction to it. And while there seems to be still Republicans that just kind of want to suffer through this and not get directly involved, there's more jumping on to the idea that there's an actual conspiracy going on here, and the attacks on the FBI have been absolutely ridiculous. This chant to release the memo, which is this memo that contains top secret information.
As most memos do.
And I can't. That music is just way too loud on my end.
Yeah.
It's drowning me out in my headphones over here. The memo, the Devin Nunes, damn it. Devin Nunes memo that is basically the story that's, it's like Fox News' greatest hits, most of it. It's the Carter Page shit again, all over again. And it also involves these text messages that were going back and forth between the two FBI agents that were slagging on Trump. And now there's like 50,000 messages that the FBI says a technical error and they've just disappeared. Sorry. And so the Republicans are demanding that those text messages be released because they believe there to be more damning evidence of these two FBI agents conspiring against Trump. Even though, if you looked at any of the text messages that we have seen, they pretty much rip on everyone pretty equally. They don't seem to have much love for any politician, really. They slag on Trump, on Hillary, on Bernie, and many other the Republican candidates at the time.
Wait a minute. You mean people in law enforcement don't have respect for politicians? Wow, right. That's shocking. Boy, that's... And wait a minute. And two people who are investigating a person sat down and talked about that person? Because technically, anybody who's ever been investigated by anybody could claim conspiracy, because definition of conspiracy is two or more people gathering together to talk about something.
Right.
If you want to go by the letter of the law...
They're using the same tactics on the press and the FBI, because the FBI... These people are, I think one of them no longer works with the FBI, and the other one is nowhere near the Russia investigation. Like, they were completely removed from that process when these text messages were revealed. And the same thing, if you look at when we were talking about the fake news awards, a lot of these were, retractions had to be printed. People lost their jobs sometimes. There are repercussions for false reporting, but that apparently doesn't mean anything. To expect any institution to be completely infallible is ridiculous. I don't know. Should these two people have been text messaging back and forth about politicians? Probably not a smart idea, but they did, and there are repercussions, and now let's move on. Right? That actually shows that there's integrity in the FBI, that they saw a problem, they did something about it. This is the same type of integrity that Jeff Sessions wants to claim. The reason why he recused himself from the Russia investigation.
Let me ask you a question, and forgive my ignorance, but at this point, what the fuck are they looking for? Because it seems to me they're digging for a needle in a haystack, and Trump and company are just doing everything they can to discredit anything that might lead to any type of uncovering of anything. They're just throwing doubt on everybody and saying you can't trust nobody but me, of course. You can trust me, America.
Yes. Yeah,
but you can't trust anybody else.
You can't trust the FBI, yeah.
And it's like, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. Keep this in mind. A good investigation isn't about looking for something. It's about believing there's something there and uncovering the story. So when people are talking about, that's what I try to just refer to it as the Russia investigation, because it's not about a collusion event. We don't know what ultimately Mueller and his team are looking into. We are hypothesizing based on certain leaks and stories here and there, and certainly you can piece a lot of it together just based on who's we've seen and known to actually have gone in and testified to the FBI and talked to them already. So
maybe I'm just having a hard time.
We can piece a lot of it together, but it's not about what they're looking for. It's knowing that there's something fucked up going on here and finding out what it is.
Maybe I'm just having a hard time wrapping my mind around the fact that I don't know many investigations where everything that is being done is dragged out into the light for fodder for the public. I mean, if there was a serial...
I'm not sure I follow you on this, because I don't think that's the case here. I mean, this has been a very secretive investigation.
No, but we seem to know the moves that they're making.
That's what I'm saying. Every tiny moving part is obsessed over. Yeah. And the big picture gets lost in worrying about all these little tiny parts that everyone obsesses over for 5 to 7 days at a stretch, and then it goes away. And then sometimes they come back, and sometimes this comes back, and then rumors and uncredited sources and it's just like, at this point, if you're not neck deep in this shit, if you're not obsessed with it, it's real easy to go, man, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Because I don't even know what the fuck is going on anymore. Okay, they want to prove that he colluded. They're looking to prove that he colluded with Russia. I understand that. What are they looking for?
See, that's not a correct statement.
Okay.
They are not looking for... Well, here, okay, two things. You're right. We don't know. Nobody knows. The press doesn't know. Nobody except for Mueller and his team know what this investigation is really about. And they are not looking for collusion. We can only guess that that's where this investigation is leading based on the limited information that we have. I mean, the problem here is that we're trying to put together a story of what happened because people want to know. Only we don't have all the information, and in order for any investigation like this to happen, you have to have it remain at least somewhat secret. So we're trying to piece together this story. Eventually, Mueller is going to wrap up his investigation and present us with a story. Whether that story has anything to do with what we've been thinking about this past year, who's to say? So if it does, it's probably going to be a very successful story. If it's a different story, I mean...
So all these news networks that are fighting back and forth, and all these fucking cheerleaders for the Democrats or the Republicans that are fighting about this back and forth, ultimately have no idea what they're fighting about. They're fighting because how dare they investigate our president, and the other side's going, of course they're investigating him. He's crooked. That's what
we're talking about a lot of things that we have no proof of, and that's true on both sides. But there is a core that I think can be considered settled, and that is Russia's involvement in our elections and our current administration's response to that. That's a major problem right there, and that's what's at the core of this.
absolutely agree with you on that. And that just like I agree with you that the only comment from anybody involved in this investigation should be no comment. You'll hear what we have to say when we present our findings.
Well,
and I understand that Trump is throwing nonsense out there, trying to just keep everybody off balance. What I'm pointing out is it definitely seems to be working, because even people who are so supposedly following this story, when you start questioning them, you just get vague answers. And I'm going, well, then what are you arguing about with other people? You're arguing about something you have no knowledge of. Shut up and wait for the facts to come out. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what's infuriating to me. I mean, I hear about this shit constantly anytime I see a news clip of the mainstream media, and it's, Fox is, of course, taking Fox's position, and MSNBC's taking their position, and CNN's getting fucking bukkakied from all directions because they're just the lowest hanging fruit, apparently, in Trump's mind. They're the easiest people to pick on as out of the cable news networks. And I'm just going.
They do some dumb shit sometimes.
and I'm just sitting here going, what are we arguing about? It's like when they went after Clinton on the blowjob, you knew exactly what they were looking for. Did you lie under oath? Did you fuck this woman? What did exactly? That's what it was, real cut and dry. Like, this just seems like there's a very wide net, and people are wanting to act like, and by people I mean people who like you put it perfectly earlier in the show, the Twitter war people, the people who want to go to war online, the keyboard warriors. AKA pussies. They want to fucking sit there and flap their fucking gums from behind a keyboard like they know something, and they don't know shit. So shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Because you're not helping. Helping or hurting. Ask yourself that before you hit fucking send, stupid. And these people don't do this shit, and it's just, we got big. Let them fucking investigate. Let's get the fucking results of the investigation. Then we can all fucking sit around and argue and hate on each other. That's all I'm at. I don't know any investigation. Like I said, if there was a serial killer on the loose, the cops wouldn't be feeding you information constantly.
But don't we all do this? Isn't this just built into our nature that we all had an opinion on whether OJ was guilty or not before even before the trial started?
And that was exactly what I'm talking. Okay, thank you. You put it way more succinctly than I could have. I kind of feel like this is like the O.J. Simpson trial. I heard a bunch of evidence they even seated a jury, and I remember going, "What the fuck? Is this how the legal system's supposed to work?" No, it's not how the legal system's supposed to work. And just like the O.J. trial, O.J.'s defense, where did they fight the trial? Not really that well in the courtroom. They fought it in the court of public opinion. I mean, they poisoned the well before fucking, like I said, they even called anybody for jury duty to be questioned. And that's what Trump's doing. At least it's what it comes off like. And it's like every fucking day I hear something new, and I go, wait, where does this fit into the puzzle? We don't know. Then shut up. File it away and move on. I mean, why are you stirring the pot on this, unless it's just let's keep people fucking at each other's throats over nonsense because, well, we've accepted that politics is just another branch of entertainment for us in this country.
Well, okay, I'll give you that. There is a lot of entertainment in that. I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. I mean, but the other thing is, I don't know what your counter is. What's the opposite of the current situation? Because it's worth talking about, whether we know facts or not. This is a discussion worth having.
I don't know, man. I guess I'm not making myself clear, or we're just so far from agreeing that it just feels that way. I totally get that Trump has people on his staff whose entire job it is to just muddy the fucking waters. That is all their job is, to cast doubt on whoever he points his finger at and says, make people doubt them. And this is like we said earlier in this conversation, this is no different than what he did with the press. He's doing with the FBI. And let's be honest, not a whole lot of fans of the FBI. All right, it's not like the FBI is like some beloved federal agency. All right, I mean, so
it's interesting, like the institutions that they choose to prop up, and then the others that they'd like to tear down. Because if you're military or police, you're automatically a saint. If you're FBI, you're probably corrupt.
Anything above the state level, yeah, they want to cast doubt on. You get what I'm saying? Like, okay, local police, sheriffs, and state police, we're fine with them. Oh, you're a Fed? Well, the federal government's fucked, so you must be fucked. I mean, it seems like that's the thinking of a lot of people, right or wrong. You're not going to change their minds overnight. And yeah, the military is a sacred cow we can't touch. You know,
I mean, imagine if the military was the one responsible for investigating and prosecuting the president.
Well, first of all, if he was being prosecuted under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, he's guilty till proven innocent. That's how the military works. You have no presumption of innocence in the military. You are guilty. They don't give a fuck. It's your job to prove you're innocent.
I'm just saying, like, we'd have a very different story of what goes on in the military.
Well, you know, once again, what the military is used as what? It's used when they're convenient. The rest of the time, shut up, we don't want to think about you. Well, what about our homeless veterans? And, the military's not going to get paid because of the shutdown. Fuck out of here.
The government is going to shut down and hurt the military. I don't understand. Trump kept saying, Schumer wants to hurt the military with this government shutdown. What does that fucking mean?
I guess what I'm getting at, Aaron, and per usual, I took the long way around to say it. Trump he's throwing out shit to just get mass confusion going, get fucking people doubting whatever. And I don't know. I feel like we're taking the bait. I would say he's meddling in the investigation. But he's not dumb enough to
acting like a guilty person.
Yes, flat out.
He is doing what somebody is guilty would do in his situation.
I mean, okay, if I was accused of a crime that I 100% didn't do, I'd be like, okay, go ahead.
Ask me all the questions you want. Otherwise, I'm going to stay the fuck away from it. Absolutely. I mean, you don't want to. It would be more hurtful to your cause if it even looked like you were meddling in it.
Exactly. I mean, that's why we have laws against witness tampering. And, hey, it'd be horrible if you testified and then, boom, something happened to you or your family. That'd be a shame. I mean, that's a crime.
And, part of the reason why...
When the president does it through his people, that's perfectly fine. And to me, that's a bigger story that the news should be covering, because right now, we don't have a whole lot of facts on the investigation. It's the fact that he's doing this and they should be like, excuse me, is anyone seeing this besides us?
I think this is part of the problem, is that we have established a lot of things. If you want to make a judgment on whether Trump is honest or not about whether there's any collusion here with Russia, you have a very simple story that he's laid out for you himself. He can't keep it straight why he did something as simple as it wasn't as simple, but his firing of Comey. He contradicts his own story publicly about why he fired Comey, and admitted that the Russia investigation was part of that. Now, that right there tells you a lot about whether this man is guilty or not. But that didn't seem to be enough for any amount of people to jump off the Trump train. There's nobody, the scales fell from their eyes and they said, I see the light now. I understand who this man is. If anything, they doubled down on attack on somebody who they consider to be their president. And so the stories keep coming. I mean, I think a lot of this, certainly these endless Russia stories every day, picking apart the little bits of information that we get, is because it gets clicks, it gets eyeballs, it drives people to the news. another part of this is hoping that people will stay engaged and start to get converted, possibly. I mean, I think that's kind of a naive position, but and it's opposing the motives of people involved in investigating these stories. But it seems like there's this idea that they can lay out enough of the story to actually convince somebody. And the problem is that nobody else feels like they can be convinced, want to be convinced, that people can even change their minds, that these are just, we're talking about two different sides of the U.S. that are at an impasse.
Stop telling me nothing and tell me when something significant happens.
I mean,
that's where I'm at on it.
Like, you have the choice whether to read the story or not, whether you watch it on the news or however. You can choose whether you want to pay attention to it or not.
Because what's the end game of getting everybody whipped up over nothing? So you get so some more eyeballs see it?
How is Russia involved in our elections and the White House?
No, I'm saying there's always.
How is that nothing?
No, I'm saying there's.
We know it's not nothing.
I know. Listen to me. I'm saying there's so much. There's been so many stories of them making so much to do of no for nothing. Hey, it was pretty much it. We took 30 seconds to tell you nothing. They interviewed somebody and act like it's a huge, big fucking deal. If the story isn't about here's what was in the interview, it's fucking a zero. It's just filling airtime. It's whipping everybody up for no reason.
And I mean, I have to. I want to believe. Let me put it that way. That people aren't naive enough to think that no other country would ever meddle in our elections just because we do it all the time. I mean, that would never happen to us. We're the U.S. If people are that naive, I strip away another layer of hope for humanity. I mean, to me, that's like duh. Of course, Russia would try to fuck with our elections. Would try to sway shit to go the way they want shit to go. That's politics. That's international politics.
We do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's nothing new.
Right.
That is not anything new under the sun. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overestimating the people who understand that is a daily part of life in this world. Maybe there's a lot more that don't understand that still have delusions that they're living in Leave It to Beaverland, where we're the big baddie on the block and no one messes with us.
I think most have acquiesced to the fact that Russia was involved. It's just now up for debate whether that actually meant anything or not. Like, sure, Russia tried to meddle with our election, but they were unsuccessful. All they did was, put some Facebook stories out there. Hey, speaking of Facebook, have you guys? I haven't been on my Facebook page in forever. I know that there were some changes made to the news feed. I wondered if you guys had seen any reflection of that in your feed.
I scroll down once a month. Couldn't tell you. I've strict no scrolling down policy.
Not that I've really seen. But then again, I tend to poke my nose into news from all over the spectrum to try to get a feel for where everybody's coming from. So I seek it out. I don't try to insulate. Seems like Facebook is saying if you want to insulate yourself from certain things, we're going to make it easier to do so.
Oh, you get a safe space on Facebook now?
I mean, I guess. I don't. Here's the thing. This is another thing that is kind of vague because the last report I heard on it was that they're going to leave it up to the Facebook users to vote on what they consider credible news sources. And I just was like, okay, because that'll work out. Well, come the fuck on now. Let's be honest here.
The recent changes were supposed to be less from businesses and more from family and friends, because that's what Facebook users have told us we've wanted. Or what they wanted is more things to engage their family and friends. I read that story like 8 times.
Oh, well, you know what
happened.
I just also thought about this. I also run an ad blocker on Facebook, so I don't see all that suggested post hey, check this news story out shit. I only see stuff from what I want. You know what I'm saying? From things I've subscribed to or I've liked. I mean, it's like, case in point, I don't like Fox News or follow them on Facebook, but I don't really need to because I have so many friends and family that constantly share their stories. But I don't see advertisements for them. I don't see, hey, check out this, suggested story for you, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. And I know at least on desktop, Facebook has they're trending shit, and you can, go top trends, politics, sports, whatever the fuck, and look at the top stories. And most of I will say this, remember when we said that Facebook had made a decision on where on the political spectrum you are, and we all checked ours. Facebook. Yeah, Facebook. Judging by what because I'm clicking on it right now. I'm on politics. I got the New York Times, Mediaite, BuzzFeed, Daily Record, Raw Story, Slate. I think you can pick up the Facebook thinks I'm, bleeding heart communist. So
libtard.
Exactly. I'm a snowflake that's triggered easily. So I don't know what they're talking about. I haven't noticed seeing a lot of family and friends post more than usual. In fact, sometimes I don't see people's posts, and then someone will comment on it, and it's a post from 3 days ago, and they're set to show in my news feed. So I don't know what the fuck's going on Facebook. It's probably a work in progress still. It's definitely not perfected, whatever it is. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you are the problem user in these cases. I mean, you are skeptical enough to, if you read something that looks like it's crazy on Facebook, go, wait a minute. Let's find out what the real story is here. And
you mean triggeredcuck.com isn't a viable news source?
Or most people are just, maybe just skimming the story, sometimes even just reading a headline and passing it on.
Hey, Chris has a no scroll down policy, and I understand it, but the unintentional humor that I get from looking at comments on any type of article with a controversial headline, because it becomes real clear within 4 or 5 comments who read the fucking article and who just read the headline.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, yeah, everything that gets posted on Twitter, people start commenting on it with like specific questions in the comments, and I'm like, it's right in the first paragraph.
Yeah, absolutely. If you bothered to take your thumb and click on it and take 10 seconds to read it,
right,
you would get
and
all of this
plenty of people
info.
that will respond back like, I'm not going to read the articles to you. Like, just, you're really curious. There's something you could do, which is read it.
What do the kids say nowadays? TLDR, too long didn't read.
But they're not. They're not really curious, though. They just want to be part of the conversation.
No,
Yeah, but
I think Facebook.
I view a conversation like a gunfight. Don't you want to show up to a gunfight with a gun? Like, don't you want to show up to a conversation like, armed with information? But, that's just me. I'm old. A whopping 38. Grandpa, get off my lawn.
I know. I mean, but if we had to take a test, we might actually crack a book that the test is based on.
I know, right?
I know that's a very weird thing to some people. But no, you hit on something. You're absolutely right. It's the whole, everybody wants to comment on something. Everyone wants to feel like their input's being listened to. And I think, this is just my speculation, I think Facebook wants to be more of a middle of the road, don't run people off, everything to everybody type, piece of social media. And it's just
McPlatform.
Yeah, kind of. And I just don't know if it's possible, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, the problem here is one that Facebook created. I mean, they're the ones that started pushing the news on their platform.
And let's be honest, you can't have a platform where anybody can say anything and then not expect to not offend people. It's not going to happen. If your goal is anyone can say anything, and this is open and free and uncensored, and you can share you're going to offend somebody at
wait
some
a minute.
point.
Who's saying that Facebook is uncensored in some fashion? I mean,
Oh no, Facebook to me definitely wants to give you the option to, you can have everything from maybe a PG to a hard R experience, but they don't want you to have the NC-17 and above.
oh, they make clear decisions on certain content that doesn't even make it on there.
I mean, I didn't even realize until a couple years ago when I first signed up for Twitter and was just, browsing, scrolling through, and all of a sudden there's just hardcore porn. I mean, this dude just plowing this chick's asshole.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
Twitter.
I was like, what? That's allowed on Twitter? I guess it is, because see that shit. You see that shit on Facebook. That shit is gone, depending on where it's posted. If it's an open post, it's gone fairly quick. But if it's a private post in a private group or something, it might hang around for a little bit. But there is something interesting that Facebook is doing now, which is it has the ability to recognize certain things that you post and will take them down automatically without them even being reported. For the first time in 9 years of being on Facebook, I had something removed, and I got a message from Facebook explaining it didn't meet community standards. And I was like, I see this picture all over the place. This isn't. There was no nudity, no gore or anything. Apparently, I guess there's an algorithm built into to Facebook to where if enough people complain about a certain type of picture from a certain source, it's automatically banned.
What's funny is it will let me post Sporgy. It will let me post the Weedsman podcast. But if I want to give them money to promote the post, I am now violating community standards because the word orgy is in the name of our sports podcast. And we dare to talk about cannabis on the Wisdom podcast.
What if we started a?
That's why like 9,000 Twitter bots like our fucking posts on our Twitter.
What if someone started a Georgie Porgy Puddin' Pie appreciation page on Facebook? Would they not be able to? I mean, serious. And weed, dude. One of the music sites I follow is called Weedian. It's all about stoner rock and stoner metal and shit. Weedian. That's the name of the fucking page.
No, but they can argue it's about music. If you really want to parse the language, you want to play the game they're playing, that's the game they're playing. They can say, no, it's about music.
I got you. If you want to play wordplay with a motherfucker, you can argue your way around it.
Dude, trust me, Google AdWords said no to our site because of, yes, we have content that violates Google fucking community standards. Because apparently I can Google, big black cock smashing, white assholes and get a result. But if I want to promote, if I want to put AdWords on our website that has a weed podcast, that's a bridge too far.
And what I love is, who's this community? No one asked me.
Yeah, I know, right?
What's this community you talk of? Yeah, to me, Facebook is, it's just something to pass the time. It's something to get a laugh about shit. And honestly, most of my friends are older, and Facebook's usually it's definitely skewed towards the older crowd now. So a lot of
it's ironic because it started for college kids.
I know, right? When it first started, you had to have a .edu address to even sign up, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's pretty much just a way of, hey. Like, a buddy of mine and his wife moved back to town not that long ago, and they posted, hey, we're coming, and, sent out through Facebook the invite. And I guess it's like, instead of calling everybody one by one, it's a community bulletin board. That's all I see it as. I don't really see it as my main source of getting news. I definitely don't see it like that.
Right. I mean, again, because you're not the problem user. There are people who that's where they feel like they're getting the unfiltered information from. That's the really ironic part of that.
FuckHillary.com gives me the real news. Fuck your lamestream media.
It really is shocking how many people don't read a web address before they post something. Because I'm just like, you think that's a You seriously think that is a legit news source? That website is. Remember that? I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something about Obama and admitted something, and I sent it to you guys, and I'm like, look at this GeoCities or Geocities, whatever looking website from 1999.
Oh no! Remember, it was it was Obama said the American people must do the right thing and give him a third term or something like that.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And that website looked like something that like a fifth grader. Fuck, that's an insult to fifth grader. A third grader fucking around with.
Hey, but you got to get third graders.
Because it literally looked like a third grader put it together. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I'm just going. People are passing this around like it's a real story. Get the fuck out of here.
I can't even believe how people can look at Fox News as a credible source for anything.
I can't.
There's a story that they had the other day about, I guess they were slagging CNN, another CNN is fake news story because Lester Holt went to North Korea and went to a ski resort and did a story there about, because North Korea is going to be involved in the Olympics, or at least there's going to be North Koreans, I believe, on the South Korean team. Not necessarily that North Korea is participating, but behind Lester Holt while he's doing this this stand-up, as they call it in the business, where he's at the scene and the people are doing
what
their
is
thing
the
in the
deal
background.
with Koreans? Wait,
right? No, he was doing shtick. Yeah, and there's just this huge line of people like waiting to go down this hill. There's people everywhere.
You're telling the North Koreans, hey, there's food at the bottom of it.
Right? Yeah. Jesus.
There's food and internet access. Go.
Yeah. And it was pointed out that all the people that were in line were all paired up and they all had matching outfits. And I was like, okay, well, that might be an Asian thing, or, but it does look suspicious. I mean, from what we know about North Korea, which is not a whole lot, but we know enough that they're not going skiing all the time. So this definitely looks set up. And so Fox News is reporting that, CNN was totally had by the North Koreans. They staged this, what do they call it? Where people go to ski.
Ski resort?
Ski resort?
Ski resort. Yes, a resort. Thank you.
Kim Jong-un just shows up just shredding massive powder.
They staged this resort and for CNN to do their story, and CNN took the bait. Like, well, okay, but we don't know much about North Korea. How do you know that? Because in their reporting, it was like it was a resort that is almost completely vacant year-round and is known to be such. And it was basically built as a vanity project that, Kim Jong-un wanted to have a fucking ski resort. And for these very purposes, to show that, hey, we're a thriving nation over here. We don't have any issues. We're going fucking skiing like white people. So,
whoosh.
The multiple sources, though, in the Fox News report, they had, two little blue links on multiple sources. And so I click on multiple, and it takes me to the Daily Mail story that they are referencing for their story. They're reporting on a Daily Mail story about how this resort is vacant, and they staged it for a CNN report, and CNN got duped, right? So Fox News is basically just re-reporting the Daily Mail story that they say is one of the two sources. So what's the other source? A Fox News story.
You can't reference yourself. We learned this during the Fake News Awards. You are not a source. You are not your own source.
Right. So, and that's the problem. I think Fox is maybe just one of the more blatant news organizations that does this. But that is part of the problem, is that there'll be one story and everybody runs a story off of that story. And we don't get a lot of multiple corroborations. So, I mean, in the respect, not to dig up the Russia investigation thing here, but I think it's applicable. that there's a lot of things. You're right. There's a lot of stories where we saw somebody come out of a meeting and they're probably testifying. And what does that mean to the investigation? Let's have 3 people on to talk about that for an hour. That there is a lot of that is excessive. But I forget what my bigger point here is, though.
Well, I mean, the bigger point was how anyone can consider Fox News a legit source of information for a news story. And I think, I just love the part that killed me is, our source, us, really is, and isn't it weird to you guys? It's strange to me because I do remember a time when ABC, CBS, and NBC just presented the news instead of trying to get into dick size, and waving each other's dicks in each other's face.
I'm not a fan of knowing what team you're on. Like, I'm a fan of objectivity. Yeah, you're a journalist, you're going to tend to be more liberal, yes, but it has never been so apparent as it has been in my adult life of what side a lot of the news, of what team a lot of the media outlets are rooting for.
Well, it's not even that. I guess I've just begrudgingly accepted that. It's the fact that Fox goes, okay, so in this segment, we're just going to attack CNN for the next 5 minutes until the next commercial break. Really?
But the other ones will do it right back. That's the thing is
MSNBC has made its whole channel about tearing Fox down.
They take the bait.
I mean, it's on both sides. I mean, I'm definitely not blind to that. It just seems this isn't news at this point. This is just whip your get the presidents of these companies, get them on national TV, have them drop their pants, get a ruler out, and let's get it over with. And then we can move the fuck on.
Well, right. And the only time that I watch any sort of TV news is when I want to look for opinion, and that's what, I guess everything's up for debate.
You have an internet connection, right?
That's what I consider, Rachel Maddow's show to be. She has a narrative, she's closely following the Russia investigation and reporting on the ins and outs of it. I find it to be a fascinating story. I want to hear her take on it. It's not where I get my facts from. Again, I have the internet, any number of other sources.
Are you your own source? Do you cite yourself?
Yes. We have to do, like what they say in Great News, Chuck Pierce, the news anchor, says, we have to do what we have always done. Read people the news.
Yes, that's what you should be doing.
It's silly to me. I don't know. Maybe maybe once again I was born way too late in the history of the human timeline. Because I just go, I have family members who are completely loyal to one news channel or another, and when I'll talk to them and a subject will come up, they spend more time attacking the other news channels than they do discussing what we're talking about. Like, well, CNN reported on it like this. Well, Fox reported on it like this, and Fox is blah, 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 and CNN is blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, all right, I'm glad but sports is dumb, right? Right? Rooting for people that you'll never meet who are paid millions of dollars to do something that really, as far as you're concerned, is dumb, is stupid. But you're going to sit here and root for these talking heads to attack each other because of who employs them. Oh, okay. It's like award shows. Yeah, like, I know whatever, it's pretentious, whatever. Really? It's a popularity contest. All right, go down the list of people who's never won a Grammy, never won an Oscar, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of talented, great artists in there. I don't take my cues from what I listen to from the Grammys or what movies I watch from the fucking Academy Awards. If I did, I'd probably be watching a lot of boring-ass movies and listening to a lot of shit music.
Hey, you bring up the awards shows. There's a question I asked you guys at pre-show chat. I wanted to save the answers for the show. The Oscar nominations came out this week, and Oscar's not so white. which I'm sure somebody somewhere will complain about something about the nominees. I'm sure they already have. I just don't pay attention that closely. But Get Out shows up in director, or best director, best movie, and best actor. And I pose this question to you guys because you have seen it, I have not. Is it that good?
Well,
is this a political pick?
I would say that it's a hard thing to make a judgment on for me because I am very behind in my movie watching, and I have not seen anything else on this list. I mean, a lot of these are more recent movies.
I guess the thing for me that gets me is it's a horror movie. From what I've heard, like isn't it horror movie first?
Wait a minute. So you haven't seen the movie?
No.
All right. Well, then fucking watch it. I mean, like,
it straddles a few different
where
genres.
are you even coming from? Is it that it can't be that good because it's horror, and no horror movie has ever been good enough to win an award?
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs. I mean, not traditional supernatural horror, but I mean, that movie. As a kid seeing it, I mean, once again, as a kid, it had some creepy moments. When he cuts the power on Starlin and she's going through the dark in his basement, and then it shows it shows him through the night vision stalking her, and she can't see shit. That is a tense fucking scene that scared the shit out of me as a little kid. Like, that would terrify me if that was happening to me in real life.
Right. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I ever heard the term psychological thriller before Silence of the Lambs came out. It basically set the template for that type of movie.
And I think that was studio marketing because they didn't want it to be labeled as a horror movie. Right.
And, horror is just the most applicable category for this movie. It's so difficult to talk about without completely spoiling it. And it's a really enjoyable film. And I do highly recommend watching it. Now, is it, best movie, best actor material? Again, like, Dunkirk is probably the oldest movie on here. I still haven't seen that. I haven't seen Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, Shape of Water, Three Billboards. These have all come out fairly recently, and I haven't kept up with any of this shit. It's not that I'm avoiding any of these films, but
I can tell you
to say that, like, Daniel, what is his last name? Daniel Kaluuya is the best actor between a bunch of other performances that I haven't seen. I don't know. Okay, consider this, though. I haven't seen Phantom Thread. I haven't seen Darkest Hour. But I've seen Get Out. I liked Daniel Kaluuya's performance. But I've seen Daniel Day-Lewis and Gary Oldman in many films, and I would say they are better actors than that kid. Also,
you can put Denzel Washington in there.
It's quite the limb you're going out on.
I'm sorry, Rich. You're absolutely right. I just saw him at the bottom of the list. Denzel, again, those are three actors that are hands down better actors than Daniel Kaluuya. And there's nothing wrong with Daniel Kaluuya. And maybe we're going to see a lot more of this guy. And he's going to show a wide range. And it's totally possible that he could outdo Denzel Washington or somebody like Gary Oldman over the course of his career. Who knows? But at this point, certainly not from this one performance, he hasn't proven to be a better actor than any of those other three. I don't know the other one, Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not sure what that. I don't know the movie either. Actually,
I really think
I'm very behind the times to even really be offering an opinion on this, but a lot of these we're talking about established names, and Daniel Day-Lewis is just one of the top actors. So what does it mean to give the award then, though? I mean, ultimately, you'd like to think of this as this pinnacle of, like, whoever did the best at their craft over the course of the last year, that's who gets this award. It's a very purist way to think about it, but it could never just be that, right?
Say, is it ever that?
It's never that. There's always politics involved in it. And ultimately, I think if you were to look at the Academy Awards as a body of work, to say that here's this group of movies that we've, over the span of decades, all deemed to be the peak of their time. And that should involve a lot of different things, you know? It shouldn't always be like, well, I mean, there's been plenty of jokes about, ever since like Philadelphia came out, you know, oh, we got to have somebody with like a disability. That's how we get an Oscar. You know, we have to overcome some sort of physical challenge.
In the 90s, AIDS meant Oscar.
You never go full retard.
Right,
you never go full retard.
Oh, so should
exactly.
you never go full blown?
Like a
stay with HIV, get the Oscar? Or do you got to go full blown to get the Oscar? Is that what Tom Hanks proved? And
so, if you understand that there's politics involved in here, then what does it really matter? What do you want this to represent? It should represent a variety of different types of movies. It shouldn't be any one genre completely excluded just because, you know, horror movies don't get nominated traditionally, superhero movies don't get nominated traditionally. I mean, even a movie like Shape of Water, which is a little more on the art house side, is still about like Swamp Thing or fucking the Loch Ness Monster.
All right, I'll pose to you like a reverse question. Like a lot of people are saying Wonder Woman got snubbed. Do you think it deserved to be on any of these lists?
Oh, unless the movies that I haven't seen are really poor, then no. I mean, Wonder Woman was a great movie, and it was really fun.
Dude, I swear, when that movie came out, you thought Rosie the Riveter came back from the grave and was leading the charge, and everyone with a penis was going to be struck down if they got in their way. Like, and the hype on it just faded real fucking quick.
Oh, the stories that people were posting on social media about, I took my 4-year-old son to see it, and when we walked out of the theater, he said he wants to be a woman when he grows up. And I'm like, that child did not say that. And all you need to put at the end of that is, and then everyone clapped. Get the fuck out of here. Stop trying to fucking virtue signal through your kid. 4 years, and if he did say some shit like that, that kid don't know what the fuck he's talking about. No 4-year-old understands. My 4-year-old said that he wishes he was dead. He's suicidal. You don't know what the fuck that means. 4-year-olds are just fucking tape recorders that repeat shit they've heard. Trust me, I've gotten in trouble with my little brother when I said shit, and that was his favorite word for the next week. Every time he said it, I'd get glared at by my stepmom. See what you did? I can't help he's a sponge. Look, to me, the best thing the Oscars can do, because all it is a it's just self-fellatio for fucking the movie set. That's it. That's all it is. And, you know, they put on, they dress up in their gowns, and they go up and they give these speeches and make sure us peasants know that how they feel about things. But to me, the best thing, Oscars at its best shine a light on good movies that aren't blockbusters, that aren't tent poles, that maybe will challenge people when they go out and see them, make them think. And, I mean, you know, looking at the Best Pictures nominees, it's like, I feel like Get Out and probably, honestly, Shape of Water and Dunkirk are just like, they're the, you know, well, hey, we're gonna put some more popular movies in there, because the rest of them, it's like Call Me by Your Name, Darkest Hour, nope. Only thing I know about Phantom Thread is Paul Thomas Anderson directed it, and it's Daniel Day-Lewis's last movie.
Right.
The billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri, no idea. Denzel Washington's nominated for Roman J. Israel Esquire. If you said, have you seen Roman J. Israel Esquire? I'd go, no, I don't need to see an attorney. Why would I?
Was I supposed to be looking for him? Yeah.
Why, does he have a commercial on TV or something that's really funny? Like,
yeah, is he taking down Figer Law? What is he doing?
Yeah, I was saying, is he a new injury attorney? Yeah.
So, I mean, that is the value I find in the Oscars. I ultimately, like, perfect example, when The Hurt Locker come out, I went to go see it. And besides me and my wife at the time, there's probably like 15 people in the movie theater. And we really liked it. And then when it was nominated, I was like, I mean, I liked it, but Best Picture? I mean, I don't know. All right. And then when it won, people, how did it win? How did it win? And then it hit me. Wait a minute. Who directed that movie?
Catherine Bigelow.
Yep. I'm like, oh, okay. And that was kind of the beginning of me, like, realizing, like, so they're kind of making statements with nominations and who they award these awards to. And if that's the case, then they're not really awarding who the best movie necessarily, the best director necessarily. They're making statements. Well, I don't care to hear your statements. I watched your movie. That's your statement as far as I'm concerned.
I don't see it so much as a statement. It's like it's not judged based on just pure art. It's based on impact. And, you know, a movie like Get Out, if it was made 20 years ago, might have made very little impact, you know? It might have had a cult following, kind of been like a Donnie Darko film that, you know, ends up being some sort of cult classic, but, you know, in our current political climate, it made a really big impact. And I think that's what ultimately the movie, I mean, it would be nice to just judge art based on art, but to say, like, I'm going to judge Get Out based on every other Academy Award-winning film to come prior to it doesn't really even seem fair. Every movie that's successful in some way, not successful necessarily like it makes millions and billions of dollars, but just makes an impact in some way, does so because it's telling the right story at the right time. And maybe that's part of what's rewarded. Or maybe they just say, there's not enough fucking black people being represented here. Let's give one to Get Out because it's a good movie. Let's just straight up. Like, what's wrong with that? It's an award show. Who really
nothing as long as I mean,
right.
nothing as long as you don't try to dress it up as something else. I mean, if you're going to be that flat out about it, I have no problem. See, that's my problem with a lot of this shit. Is that you know, was it 2 years ago? Oscars so white and blah 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 and all this. Mm-hmm. All right, whatever. You know, then what? BET don't have an award show. Last time I checked, they do. You know what I'm saying? I don't see Eminem sweeping the BET Awards.
Separate but equal, Rich? Huh?
Sure, if that's how you want to look at it. What I'm saying is, I don't go to the Country Music Awards and bitch that ICP didn't win Album of the Record of the Year or Artist of the Year.
The Song of the Year for the Grammys this year.
It's so white.
Well, the Song of the Year for the Grammys this year. It's all black people. It's all minorities. You don't see any. Where's that campaign? Grammy's so black.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure Stormfront's got something that this is bullshit and blah blah blah. Well, then don't watch it. Do what I fucking do. Don't watch it. Not that hard. I got other things to do. I can get high and go jerk off. That's probably going to be a better time than watching the Oscars. All right.
I mean, people talk about popular things in culture like they are forced to consume them. Like, there's too many superhero movies and all the music awards are bullshit. And like, dude, there's so much other shit out there. Like, just you have choices more than ever before.
Exercise them.
That's kind of how I felt with the Ghostbusters reboot, whatever the fuck it ended up. What did they settle on? What they were trying to call it? It's like, look, I get it. I understand. Okay, you're trying to ride this new wave of feminism to the bank, but don't act like you're trying to change the fucking world with this movie. And that's what they were doing. And it turned into anyone who said, I really have no interest in seeing it. All of a sudden, you're a woman-hating rapist and you kick cats. And it's like, what? No, I just don't want to see a shitty fucking Ghostbusters movie. I don't want to see Ghostbusters 2. Do I hate Bill Murray? I hate white people. I hate Harold Ramis.
You hate Carpathians.
I hate shitty movies. That's sorry. I saw the preview. It didn't appeal to me. I didn't chuckle once. Why would I go see the movie? And it was this attitude of, if you don't see this, then you're supporting segregation and oppression and blah, blah, blah of women. No, I don't want to see it. Okay, out of everything that's been nominated, like you, Aaron, I've seen Get Out. The Post, I actually do want to see. Shape of Water, I'll probably watch. Phantom Thread, I'll probably watch.
Yeah.
Dunkirk, I don't know. I mean, here's the deal. I love Christopher Nolan and his movies. I love Memento. I love, Insomnia. But I got to be in a mood to watch when he goes out of the, like, I can't just put on Memento because it's Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, and I just want to watch a movie. I got to be in a mood to watch that.
I hear you, and I definitely got to be, well, I'm not necessarily an aficionado of war films as a genre. If they're done right, and there's actually a personal story being told there, then I'm in for it. But it sounds like this is just a war film. Like, every review that I've heard about is like, there's not really much story there, but it sure is beautiful. Like, okay, but who's got time for that? There's so many more better stories out there to be told. And, where Christopher Nolan to me is more interesting is in a lot of the things that aren't necessarily in the story. Inception and what was the Matthew McConaughey Space Journey one?
Interstellar.
Yeah, thank you. Inception and Interstellar are two perfect examples. These are stories where some dubious shit goes on, right? And it's just kind of spackled over. I mean, there's major fucking plot holes in these movies. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't obscure the story that Christopher Nolan is telling in these movies. And if anything, if you're really engaged in the general story that's being told, you'll bring something to it. Everyone's got their theories about, how an inception could actually be possible, or whether there's, any kind of scientific fact behind the things that happen in Interstellar. I mean, I think that, so there's a bit of a kind of a mystery there. There's something that, I don't know if me watching Dunkirk, what I would get out of that, right? There's not any twist to a tank movie.
It's a boat movie, technically.
Yeah,
movie, whatever. Like,
I think I agree with you, because I find a lot of war movies either tend to be
glorifying.
They're either it's either propaganda to, hey, look how wonderful, the good guys in this war movie are, and feel like American Sniper. I mean, that movie was just, first of all, his quote-unquote autobiography is bullshit. And so you're basing a movie based on facts on a bullshit autobiography.
Yeah.
And they further bullshitted it up for the movie. I got to watch that movie, and I was like, that is all right. But I felt like I was being force-fed propaganda. And then there's the war movies that show you, like, they want to show you the horror of war. And I mean, look, I'm not taking anything from that. I don't need to be gut shot to know I don't want to be gut shot. Okay, I know war is horrible. And then there's the very rare movies, and I'm specifically thinking of like Generation Kill, which is technically not a movie, it's a miniseries, but it's more about the people and what's happening with them while they're in there than trying to shove a message down your throat. Either way, saying wars, hey, look at our heroic men and women in the military, or war is horrific, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's movies like, and this is a very old movie, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, it's called The Longest Day. It's about the D-Day invasion. And they did something back in I think it was the 50s, maybe even early 60s, that was unheard of for a war movie. They had two separate scenes in the movie. One was the Allies, and something had just gone wrong, and the generals were talking, and they looked at each other and they said, the way this war is going, sometimes I wonder whose side God is on. And then they showed the Nazis, and they had just had some shit happen, and they turned and looked at each other and said, the way this war is going, sometimes I wonder whose side God is on. You don't really get that from many war movies, and especially from back then, So I mean, to me, I can't go for the extremes on either side, and it has to have something more than just big explosions for 2 hours. That doesn't do anything for me.
Right. To me, war film is kind of a genre film, the same way as like horror or even like a cowboy film or Western, I should say. But to me, it sounds like Dunkirk is as if like you made a Western and it was all about the horses. like I'm not interested in a story where, and it seems like there are a lot of war films out there where the war is the story and the character almost. And to me, like, I may be attracted to certain genres, like I like superhero stories, but it's not because I have like a cape fetish or some shit. Like I look for the good stories there and find them. And the good stories are about the same, it's the same requirements that you would have for a good story in any other media. You're looking for a personal story. You're looking for a challenge that is overcome. You're looking for growth in a character or something like that. These are what we're attracted to. So, yeah, I mean,
well, it's just it's like
whether fictional or not, how a war ended up is not the interesting story. It's about the people involved in that I'm more interested in.
And that's why I like The Hurt Locker as much as I do. For all the flaws in that movie, and Jesus Christ, never watch that movie with anyone who served active duty. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It is like Mystery Science Theater 3000 with the Marine Corps. It is just, that's bullshit, that's bullshit, that's bull. And I'm like, it's a fucking movie, dude. Calm down. But the whole point of the movie that seemed to be lost on a lot of people is pretty much shoved in your face at the end when he rotates back home and he goes grocery shopping and he's sitting there holding 2 boxes of cereal and it's taking him like 3 minutes to decide between the two, yet put a bomb in front of him and he's decisive and can act on instinct, no problem. He can't handle everyday life. He's addicted to the adrenaline that comes from war. And then boom, what happens at the end? He goes right back. Leaves his wife, leaves his kid, and goes right back to the sandbox. Mm-hmm. That's the whole point of the movie. Some people, I mean, of the 3 major characters, you had Anthony, oh shit, no, that's not his name. The black guy, I can't remember who plays the Falcon.
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie, yes, that is his name. You had Anthony Mackie, it just seemed like your average guy who joins the military and is like I joined for, training and money for school, and so I got caught up in this war shit. You had the one guy, I can't remember that actor's name, not Jeremy Renner, but the other guy, who just was like, probably he reminds me of the type of guy that watches the recruiting commercials and hears the fucking Godsmack music and is like, I gotta join.
Gets a boner.
That looks dope, bro. Yeah, and then he gets there and he finds out, war ain't like a video game. There's no reset button. Then you had Jeremy Renner's character who was built for that shit. Like he was almost the type of person who specifically made to be a lifer in the military. And he can't, for all the bullshit you put up in the military, sometimes the structure of it serves a certain type of personality. And it shows you all 3 of it.
Somebody would be attracted to the military even if they didn't advertise.
Exactly. And so many people I've talked to about that movie, and they're like, I didn't get the point of that movie. What's the point of that movie? War is bad in Iraq? I got that. I don't need your fucking bleeding heart liberal faggots tell me that. And I'm like, that's what you took from the movie? Whew, I've stepped in puddles deeper than you, dude. Stop, all right? Go play in the corner while adults talk. I mean, it's... So, yeah, war movies, they're very hit or miss for me. I'm with you on that.
And it's not about accuracy for me either. Like, the last war-oriented movie I would say that I saw that I really enjoyed was Jarhead. And I've heard plenty of stories about how none of the shit that we witnessed in that movie would go down like that. Like they would never use live ammo in training. Like, okay, I don't care if it's true or not. I wasn't looking at it as a documentary. It gave me an experience that I felt was real, and it felt real because I saw it through the eyes of these fully fleshed out characters in this movie.
I'm there to be entertained.
Well, on top of that, I think Peter Sarsgaard gave one of the fucking most underrated performances in that movie of a guy who it was just like
so good.
Like, let me go hide in the military, and he wants nothing. Once he gets there, he wants nothing more than to be a Marine for the rest of his life. And they bounce him out because he lied on his application about a drug conviction, which I don't know the numbers,
dude,
but that happens quite a lot.
Let me just that fucking scene when they call him off his shot and pull in an airstrike, I was just like, I don't know if there's not many actors that can put you in the mindset of a character like that. I think many other actors that would have tried to play that role, you would have just looked at him as like the psychopath. You know, there's something wrong with that guy and he's bloodthirsty. But he pulled it off so that I felt sympathy for this guy. Somebody who, at the end of the day, all he really wanted to do, it wasn't even about anything personal, anything like that particular guy or these people or anything. He just wanted to be the one that pulled the trigger on a human and end their lives.
Because that's all he had been trained to do.
Right, but you understood that. Whereas we've seen that character in so many other films, and he's just a villain. He's just a guy who is, miswired in some way. Like I said, he's a psychopath.
I thought he represented from this aspect, the perfect Marine. And when they start talking about politics and oil and shit, when they first get there, he goes, fuck politics. We're here.
Right.
That's all that matters. That is the mindset I guess I would strive for in that situation, because if I got so wrapped up in the politics behind why I'm there, I'd probably go nuts. I mean, it would just be like, this is bullshit. I'm not doing this. Fuck this. What, because you got some fucking stripes on your arm, I'm supposed to listen to you? That's it? Who gives a shit? Fuck you. And that attitude, you don't get you far in the military.
Get you sent home?
If you're lucky. If not, you're going to be doing a lot of time. But yeah, it's I don't know. War movies are hard because I don't want, when I recommend something like Generation Kill to somebody or something, The Longest Day, I don't want to come off like I'm glorifying war. If you get my drift, because I know a lot of people who really like war movies, and that's right, kill that motherfucker, cut that gook's head off, and all that shit. Like, I've watched Platoon with friends who were rooting for the Americans when they were ransacking the village, and the dude, I can't remember, I think it was Charlie Sheen's character, snapped, and he's like, dance motherfucker, and he's shooting at the guy with one leg, and the guy's trying to hop away from him and shit, and he's like, that's right, get that zipperhead gook motherfucker, and I'm like, god damn, bro.
What about
did someone hurt you when you were younger?
Guy in Full Metal Jacket. Get some!
Yeah.
Get some! That guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first time I saw it, I was like 10, 11, and it didn't really hit me. And then I saw it when I was a little bit older, and I laughed at the absurdity of it, and now I see it, and I'm just like, oh boy, that's the motherfucker that you don't want moving in next to you when he rotates to the world.
Yeah.
That's the dude who's like, hey, I was a machine gunner on a fucking helicopter, and let me tell you, I got me 50 confirmed kills, and it's like, oh boy, yeah. None of my trees are hanging over your property line, right? Okay, well, as long as we're good, 10
meds a day.
Check the mail, don't make eye contact type thing.
Yeah.
But, and another thing, I wanted to bring this up when I heard about the Post. I'm assuming we haven't seen it, but, I mean, everybody here hasn't seen it.
Not yet, but I intend to, yeah.
Same here.
from the reviews I've read, I kind of feel like that was
I gotta
Hollywood's
see where
reaction.
Hanks takes a leak.
Because he does in every single fucking movie.
It'll be there.
It's like Brad Pitt eating while he's doing in the middle of the scene. He does it every movie.
What do you think? He just gets hungry and writes it into his contract?
I think he's just like
Brad Pitt wants a meal every.
He
shooting
doesn't
day.
know what to do with his hands.
I
They
was
take
always-
action and his hands start floating up by the side of his head, and they're like, "Give him something to eat."
I thought it was just because he looks like he does. He just wants to prove he's a normal human being who eats normal shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we
Or
get
didn't
it.
he used to be a big stoner? He's just hungry. Get this man some chili fries.
Yeah, I think in True Romance he was playing Floyd from personal experience. I would say that is. I'm like, he sucked on a fucking honey bear bong before. Yeah, that's probably his own from home.
It's got his BP. It's got his initials in it.
But no, from all the reviews I've read about the Post,
Guy you let her, Floyd smoked it.
I kind of get the impression that movie was kind of made as a not so subtle, like, fuck you to the fake news crowd. I don't know if you've read any reviews or not, but
Well, I mean, I heard a review by Mark Bernardin, who is a writer. It's a guy who co-hosts Kevin Smith's nerdy podcast, Batman on Batman. And he's a journalist as well. And he said that he loved the hell out of that movie and got all teary-eyed at the end of it because it was a movie about journalism where journalism was the hero, where there was the satisfaction at the end of it of like all this work was just some good end of some sort.
Sure wasn't crying for how it used to be. Oh, back when there used to be journalists.
back when newspapers were actually,
When they were allowed to be journalists, where it was about being accurate, not being first.
But, I mean, I don't want to say that that's why it's being looked at as a nominee for Best Picture.
Oh, no, I'm just talking about
but
why it was, like, the subtext of the movie, I guess. I'm not talking about why it was nominated.
Oh, no, I know. I was kind of looping
When the man
it back
was
a little
crying.
bit.
Oh, pure journalism.
Well, hey, can I throw a bit of conspiracy theory? Actually, I don't have a theory behind this. It just smells funny. Remember
Sure, why
the
not?
story? I don't think
It's been that kind of
we
week.
We didn't talk about this on the show. I don't believe. But there was the false missile alert in Hawaii that happened. This is a couple weeks ago now, right?
Yeah.
This 38-minute span in between sending out an alert that missiles are on their way to then sending out oops, my bad.
And apparently could have happened 15 minutes sooner had the gentleman remembered his Twitter password. Why is the fucking ballistic missile warning system hooked up to your Twitter?
No shit.
I'm not. Wait, I didn't read this. What is it?
Or was it maybe
What
just
is
so he
Twitter?
could send out the warning and go, whoops, no. Yeah, the story came out a couple of days ago that it could have ended 15 minutes sooner had the information minister, fucking whatever, remembered his Twitter password.
Oh, okay, so whoever had to like override the alert,
Yeah,
and it. But what is
it could have been
is it
23
because
minutes, not 38.
He used the same password for Twitter that he did for his security code, I would guess.
He said he couldn't remember it. I don't know.
Then he has to forgot password. They send it to his Yahoo email account that he forgot the password to that. And
He's like,
then,
my Hotmail email, I haven't used that in 20 years.
Right.
At AOL.com. Fuck.
Well, I don't know. There was a story that just hit while we were recording about how the employee who's being blamed and has already been reassigned for this false alert.
That's why you got to get a government job, man. You just get reassigned. You don't get fired.
Right, yeah. He's now refusing to cooperate with the investigation, and I don't know what the fuck that means.
Yeah, well,
It's like,
wait, what? Why would he?
I think all three of us are all in that camp. Like, wait, what? Why?
Yeah, no, like I said, this hit while we've been recording, and I kind of scanned through the story, and there's not a statement from him. You know, I have no idea why he wouldn't be cooperating with it. It just kind of reeks. Like, this seems like if this was the cut and dry story, like they're telling it, then what's the big deal here? And
yeah, I mean, I get that they're gonna have to do it. They have to do an investigation. There's no two ways around it. To me, that's a real short interview. Why'd you hit that button? I fucked up. I don't know about you, but I believe him. Okay, interview over. What do you? I mean, unless it's maybe he's afraid to lose his job and he's being advised. It doesn't make any sense why he wouldn't just. I hit the wrong button.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry.
It's not like you can just hide out and be like, maybe they'll just forget about me.
Well, I mean, look, did it scare the shit out of people?
I've been restationed to Alaska. That'll be the end of it.
Well, they can go. He can go bang. What's her face? Sarah Palin. There you go. It's your compensation, buddy.
We need to get this guy an assignment with no missiles. I repeat, no missiles.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's not like he accidentally launched a missile. He hit the wrong button. Apparently, the test button to test to see if the system's working is right next to the actual button, which is like
okay.
Mm-hmm. You know, really? Who designed that? Wile E. Coyote?
Maybe my brain's been poisoned by current news, but when I first heard about this false missile alert, I thought of Donald Trump and even this is an unnamed source that's quoting him as saying that he was thinking a lot about what happened with what happened on 9/11 and how that could be looked at as good for the Republicans getting into office. And he said in respect to looking ahead to the 2020 elections as to what could actually save him from having a Democratic majority in office that will actually start putting some real pressure on his presidency.
You and the fucking Iceman, you guys can get together and have a conspiracy podcast.
Conspiracy brothers.
Well, I'm just telling you, I heard about this false alarm, and I knew this about Donald Trump, and it scans with his personality. And
6 months ago, I'm going to tell you you're insane. Now, I'm going to go, maybe.
Hey, listen, as the story unfolded, but as the story unfolded, I said, okay, this tracks. You know, somebody made a mistake, and this isn't something that happens a lot, and so the remedy was for some reason not immediately available. Okay, let's move on. But now he's not cooperating with the investigation. Why? I don't know.
I refuse to tell you I hit the wrong button. Where my brain goes
is somebody's put some pressure on him to do this false alarm thing, and
it's Donald Trump Jr. He fucked up again.
Well, really, I mean, it was a story that got traction, that steered eyeballs away from the daily Russia investigation stories for a little while.
Maybe I have the wrong mental picture of this guy. I just picture the equivalent of Homer Simpson.
Some Hawaiian stoner. Whoops.
I just
smoked a little too much before his Saturday morning shift.
I just picture Homer Simpson in a Hawaiian shirt hitting the wrong button because it's right next to the button he was supposed to hit. And then going,
first of all,
fuck. Oh, the button that probably a pina colada. Shit.
Listen, I don't want to generalize, but Hawaiians have fat fingers. I don't know if you've noticed this.
Hey, man. Hey, Tony Rockahor is Samoan. What the motherfucker supposed to do, all right?
Hey, did you see? He was blowing the joint behind the building while one of those little Happy Birds was, poking the keys.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hey, Mrs. doesn't find me sexually attractive anymore. I guess he just tripled his productivity.
I think the bigger story is the fact that Hawaii didn't burn to the ground in those 38 minutes.
But people were like hiding but people are hiding their kids like in the sewers. Like, for real, what's that gonna do?
Hey man,
have your kid get crushed by concrete?
Chris, I watched Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, you just gotta hide in the fridge.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Because that's how that works.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hyatt residents, please get inside of your refrigerators.
Yeah, just find a 1950s refrigerator and hide in it.
Well, have you guys ever seen the old black and white, like, shit they would show in school during the Cold War? About
Duck and Cover?
Yeah. It is the most asinine shit. Fuck that. If I'm in high school, I'm looking at the teacher. If she's fine, I'm like, we might as well go out fucking.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You ever had some 16-year-old dick? Would you like some?
Wasn't that the South Park episode? Was it the volcano?
Yeah.
The duck and cover and the lava would go over top of them.
Kill them. Does absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, there's nothing. If there is a nuclear missile heading towards, let's say, just for shits and giggles, we're all in Michigan, heading towards the Rencent, we could get in our cars right now, and let's say magically every highway was wide open, and run that motherfucker at top speed, we ain't getting far enough away to make a difference.
Oh, fuck no. Fuck no. I'm the St. Clair Shores, man.
That's what I'm saying. We're all dead.
I'd be the first one to go.
I mean, so the fact that people didn't lose their minds, Purge style, it kind of gives me a little bit of hope for humanity, I guess. You know, because I'm just imagining that alert happening in like New York City.
Is people just starting
just fucking in the street
for no reason?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I got this big screen TV.
There
for
would be
what?
at least a couple deaths. There'd be a couple deaths.
Why are you stealing that TV?
In a big city like that.
You want to see your death in 4K? Hey,
yeah, I would picture.
Hey, look, I can read what it says on the side of the missile.
I would picture
resolution
hysteria.
So clear.
You know, I'd picture hysteria, and the fact that maybe there was, but it wasn't. It didn't manifest itself in Hawaii being just burnt to the ground. You know,
Honolulu's just on fire.
Exactly.
I'm thinking 9 months from now we're going to have a little stash of missile babies growing up.
All those grass skirts. That'd be horrible. All that fire.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. There might be like, hey, honey, I'm going raw up in here. We're going to die in 30 minutes anyways.
No, I think
all these kids named Saturday.
There's the couples that would have, said, fuck it, this is how I want to go out. I want to die fucking. Why not? And then there's the others who didn't think about it at the time, but after the relief of having what seemed like a brush with death would then fuck it out.
Damn, baby, we just had a near death experience. Let's fuck.
Let's reaffirm life.
No, that's absolutely. It's a primal response in the face of death to try and create more life.
Oh no, yeah. I
this is no joking matter, Rich. Sorry.
Makes me wonder how many people survive car wrecks and get out with a rock hard dick. Like, I need something to knock this down. Come on, someone help.
Planning some near-death experiences for Mandy.
Both the good one and the bad one.
Well, that's okay. That leads me to an interesting
David
question.
Cronenberg crash where they were jerking off after the car crash?
Oh, yeah. They did make a movie about car crashes and erections. I forgot about that.
Yes.
Right.
We didn't even have to Rule 30 for that shit. It's already been done for us.
Yeah. Independent film is taking care of that for you already.
So let me ask this question. I mean, let's say we get an alert. There's a missile heading for Detroit. It's not a fake. How the fuck you guys want to go out?
You want me to? Do you want the podcast answer or the real answer that would probably happen? I'd probably try to find my family.
Right.
Quite honestly, I'd find my folks.
I don't know what else you could.
My folks, my sister, my nephews. Fuck it. And all go out together. That's probably what would happen. But shit, in Fantasyland, I'm kicking in. Fantasyland, I'm kicking in the window of the liquor store. I'm trying heroin. I'm stealing a Maserati.
Right. like, let's say first wave takes out your entire family and everyone you know.
Oh, it's Mad Max time.
Oh, yeah, exactly, dude. I'm the road warrior.
And then there's a second wave coming that you know is imminent. Then, yeah, all bets are off.
Well, see, this is the beauty for me.
Pants are no longer a thing in the second wave.
Turk was right. Man is not meant to shit while wearing pants.
Pants just get in the way in the second wave.
No, it's the beauty of it for me is I have no family up here, so I can go all fucking... I can go all fucking hard as hell. I can go ham, no problem. So, and the liquor store is like literally a stone's throw away. So,
hey, you'll have a handle of Mohawk.
I'm gonna be driving through the front of the liquor store, listening to the Beer Nuts podcast and going, "Where's the craft beer?" Once I get in there, where's all that shit I can't afford? That $20 6-pack crap.
Richard have a handle of Mohawk in one hand and his dick in the other. Fuck it, the missile's coming.
Man, look, y'all make me out to be some kind of fucking just common low bottom in the gutter drunk. Motherfucker, I'm grabbing Johnny Walker, red, blue, black, purple.
Right. You know what I heard?
I heard top shelf shit.
I heard this is not a myth. I heard there is a Johnny Walker Platinum.
Well, you know, I'll find it. Let the whistle be coming.
I'll find it. I'll find it, drink it, and use it as lube during the second wave.
Well, because I was thinking about it, and I'm like...
What he found out was that platinum was just a state of mind.
I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you know, I've always joked, like, oh, you know, call my dealer and shit. My dealer ain't going to fucking want to do no business if he's only got 30 minutes to live.
Yeah, he'd be like, hey, guess what? Out of business. Shop is closed.
I'm not going down to 7 in Shiawassee and picking up a hooker and an 8-ball because the hookers are running for their lives and the dealers are like, well, fuck this shit. I'm out of here. I'm not dying on this corner. Yeah. If I was at work, I would leave. I wouldn't stay. What are you going to do? Fire me? Okay. So it's like...
missile's coming. Fuck you.
Right. That's a good point. I would probably find out when I was at work. I don't even know if I would say goodbye to anyone.
Just get up and leave.
I don't hate anyone that I work with, but
hey, world's ending.
I'd just
later.
Be like, boom, gone.
Yeah. Just tip on out. Don't say a fucking word. Just trapdoor out that motherfucker. Just gone. Hey, where's Aaron? I don't know. He left and
be like,
look, shit,
like I
there's
leave parties.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly, I'd hit the liquor store. Guys, because 30 minutes, I'm not going anywhere. It's going to be gridlock because you're going to always have idiots that think they can drive away from this shit, and this is the Motor City. And it's just going to be just gridlock, so you might as well just leave your car at home. There's nothing else around here. I mean, I think there's a car wash. I don't care what my car looks like when the apocalypse happens. So fuck it. Hit the liquor store, man. Shit. Oh, God. Oh. Yeah, that would be bad, though, if it did turn out to be fucked up, because I don't know if I'd recover from that hangover.
Well, we'd all be dead, because the missile came.
No, I'm saying if, like, hey, we know we sent out, like, no, this is for real, but we were really wrong. We're sorry about that.
Oh, you're talking about a 3-day delay, so we had a weekend to all think the world was in, the missiles were coming?
Maybe it's a dud.
Yeah, some shit like, and there I am.
A flag that says bang just comes out of the end of it.
I'm sitting there with a fucking, you know, a cigarette in one hand, a fifth of Johnny Walker Platinum in the other, and no pants in a liquor store I just drove through the front of. Fuck. Hey guys, sorry about that. I thought the world was ending. Can I get a mulligan in this
one? Sorry about that.
Right.
You just back out and run away.
Christ.
Don't need to see my tags.
Right. It just lands with a thud, no explosion. The tip falls off, and then like 3 dead North Koreans come out of it. Oh, that was their space program. Never mind.
Oh, we were aiming for a Walmart.
You can get some kid downtown by the Renson poking him with a stick. He ain't moving, man. I don't think we got much to fear from these guys. I think we're all right here. Well, no.
Which one's the leader?
I mean, just the fact, like I said, just the fact that people were like, okay, let's try to put our kids in a safe place, blah 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 blah. You know, I'm like, you know, maybe we're not as horrible as I think we are. I don't know. I'm trying to find some light in this story.
No, think about it. It's Hawaii. People are in a better headspace there. A lot of people are on vacation. If you live there, you fucking live in Hawaii. You know.
Yeah.
That's how the mellow people handled it. In New York, there could have been a body count.
I agree with Aaron. There definitely would have been a few deaths, at least. Yeah, somebody would have. First of all, 5 million people in that space. It's just too crowded for panic. I mean, I'm surprised more people didn't die when we had that power outage on the East Coast in 2003 in New York.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, that was the time I was expecting like to descend into Mad Max type times, but we actually stayed pretty civil during that whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know if we could handle a blackout now.
Oh no, because we weren't so entrenched in our devices.
Oh my God, yeah, dude.
That was 2003. That was 5 years before.
Hey,
that was pre-iPod, iPhone, iPad.
The great blackout of 2020, day 3. Everybody's devices' batteries have finally run out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, now
Chaos ensues.
now shit gets real. We were cool while we could play Candy Crush. Now it's on.
Jesus Christ. Everybody will be like huddled around fires and then just put a stick in the fire and pull it out and just stare at the flame for a while.
No, make it blue, make it blue.
I could see the Lifetime movie after, 6 months, a year afterwards, the blackout of 2020, the search for Wi-Fi. And people just driving around holding up their phone like, I'm not getting a signal. What are we going to do? How do I get sexual gratification without the internet?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, men running rampant through the streets, having beaten off for days.
Just the whole
They're gathering in dirt lots, like drawing out pictures of boobs with sticks in the dirt. They're all huddling around.
Revert back to caveman shit. And then when the power does come back on, wherever the blackout was, there's just a big Me Too hashtag on the back.
Oh God, yeah. Set our whole race back generations.
Any guy with hair longer or past his collar is like, you don't want to know what they did to me. It's horrifying. He said, take it like a pro, and I did. Oh. God, Jesus. Oh, man. Well, we discussed the Oscars. Fuck it. Might as well just wade into the bullshit fucking award show shit. Who the fuck is Cardi B?
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, she's an interesting character. We've explored her on the Weedsman.
She's a former stripper.
Is she?
I haven't.
Is she
I
black?
haven't heard any of the nominees yet.
Yes.
I thought she was
she's
white.
Latina, isn't she?
Isn't she that all bass, no treble chick?
No.
Oh, then I really have no idea of who she is then.
We have ways to show you who she is. She did that Bodak Yellow song.
I have no idea. I don't even know if you're speaking English right now.
Yeah, it's pretty typical shitty hip hop track. Let's see.
That's her?
Yes.
That shit sounds like that. How about that bitch song? Seriously, it sounds just like her song.
Yeah, no, it's because it's that new production style. What's it? Rob Collins is called breath rap or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a new style where all they use is 808 and it's really minimal, and everyone's discovered the triplet function on their fucking drum machine.
The only song I think I really know that's nominated for anything is that Redbone song.
I know Bruno Mars, 24 Karat Magic. That's also like Song of the Year.
Was that?
The album of the year is Childish Gambino, Jay-Z, Kendrick Lamar, Lorde, and Bruno Mars are all nominated.
I mean, I've heard of all of them, but I couldn't pick Kendrick Lamar out of a lineup of one. Jay-Z's new album. I think I don't know if we talked about it on air or not, but I listened to a few tracks and was like, you should have packed it up after the Black Album, like you said you were going to. Because I post that as far as Jay-Z's. Now that Childish Gambino, that's what's his face from
Donald Glover.
Yeah. His song,
the new Lando.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what else he's doing. But yeah, that Redbone song, I like that. And for the first time I heard it, I'm like, is this a new or old song? Is this a hip hop song or R&B song that somehow slipped through the cracks on me?
I agree. Yeah, I think I heard that in like a movie or a TV show first, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And it was like I couldn't place it.
I thought this was...
I'm pretty good at placing shit like that. I can hear a song I never heard before and tell you what decade.
I thought this was like a vault track from Prince when I heard it or something. I was like, is this some shit his family released or something?
Well, usually production can give away the era it was recorded in.
Yeah.
If you know, like you hear something from the 80s, 9 times out of 10, you know it's from the 80s. Yeah. And if you hear, that's just how it goes. So, but yeah, I was like, I actually liked it. Okay, so there's a song that's nominated that I know and I like for the first time in I don't know how long. I know every year we read the list and we're just like, who? I don't know. But yeah, Cardi B, for some reason, I thought was that Call Me Maybe chick. No, that's
Carly Rae Jessep.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And I thought she was the same chick that did the no bass or all bass, no treble. See,
Cardi B has.
I don't see her anywhere on this list, though. Is she one of the performers?
She might be a performer.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing. So, like, Song of the Year, Despacito. Fuck that song.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Jay-Z's 444. Julia Michaels' Issues. I don't know that. Something called 1-800-273-8255 featuring Alyssa Cara and Khalid by Logic. And Bruno Mars' That's What I Like. I don't think I know that one.
Yeah,
I don't know these songs. I know Despacito, and that's the fuck it.
When it comes to
you just said, little kid.
The Song of the Year, I don't know any of them, including Desperado, whatever the fuck it was. And the only thing I know by Bruno Mars is that fucking
Despacito.
That's what I'm picturing.
Out riding fences. Sorry, guilty pleasure actually, as much as I hate the Eagles.
No, the Uptown Funk song is the only thing I know Bruno Mars about him. Unless he's done some shit, like he's done production for other people. I don't know his music all that well. I saw him holding a Stratocaster, and he looked like a 2-year-old holding the Stratocaster. And I was like, oh, that's a small man. So now
I would say, like, if we were just judging based on talent for Album of the Year, that's kind of a tough call. Because these are... I think what's interesting about this list is this is entirely people who are... None of these people are just like artists in the sense of like a vocalist or something like that. These are all songwriters, producers, as well as, rappers or singers or whatever, what have you. They're musicians as well. Like they are... This is a list full of multi-talented people. I mean, look at Childish Gambino. We already talked about his roles as an actor as well as the music that he's doing that's transcending what is currently happening in popular music. Jay-Z's decades worth of producing and rapping. Kendrick Lamar does a lot of his own production, plays instruments. Lorde as well. Bruno Mars. These are all multi-talented, true artists. Whether I like any of their music or not, like, there's things that I hear a Bruno Mars song and I can appreciate it, but I'm like, I don't really need to hear that again. But like, there's aspects of it that I like what you're doing. It kind of is for all of these. Like, I don't know if any of these are transcendent music that a decade from now I'm still going to be listening to. But it's not a bad list as far as just trying to judge talent.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at the best rock performance.
Okay, here we go.
It's got
I
You
haven't
Want It
seen that
Darker.
one yet.
You Want It Darker by Leonard Cohen. The Promise by Chris Cornell. Run by Foo Fighters. No Good by Kaleo. 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 I don't know. And Go to War by Nothing More. I had no idea who the last two groups are. If they are a group, Kaleo could be a group or a person.
No Good? What's the name of that Kaleo song? Or?
Yeah, that's the song. No Good.
They are an Icelandic blues rock band that formed in Mosfellsbær in 2012. It consists of lead vocalist and guitarist and a drummer and bassist with all Icelandic names that I'm not even trying to say. They've apparently got 7 albums out.
Well,
this is them.
What is Leonard Cohen doing on this list? I don't understand. Like, it doesn't really classify as rock. He died in 2016. I mean, it's just like some sort of posthumously produced work that they're like, well, just...
Because musicians, we need to suck somebody's dick more. Like, that's... You know how it goes.
Yeah, I think it is kind of a nod to him because he went out. I'm sure it was off of it has to be off a Posthumous album. It has to be.
I mean,
same thing with Chris Cornell.
Yeah, same as Cornell's on there. I love Cornell, but that's the only reason he's on there.
Yeah, okay, I love Cornell too, but Leonard Cohen is somebody who should have gotten a Lifetime Achievement Award last year. That's somebody that should get a best rock song for something that doesn't even represent the pinnacle of their career.
So is this that overcompensation? Oh, we'll give him a nod.
Yeah, I kind of think so.
Is this like getting a courtesy hand job?
That's a really weak category, if you ask me. Well, I mean, again, I don't know Kaleo or Nothing More. I have never heard those songs.
Well, I mean, under best rock song, it doesn't get much more, like, as far as me, recognizable. You got Atlas Rise by Metallica. No idea. Blood in the Cut. No idea. Go to War by Nothing More. Nope. Run by the Foo Fighters. I've only heard the single off of their new album, so if that's not the single, I don't know it. And then The Stage by Avenged Sevenfold. No idea.
Avenged Sevenfold still doing shit?
I mean,
shit.
Yeah,
they're the new Metallica, man.
Thank you for saying it. Now, best rock album, I recognize, okay, you got Emperor of Sand by Mastodon. I at least recognize the name.
That's not a bad album.
Hardwired to Self-Destruct by Metallica. The Stories We Tell Ourselves, Nothing More. Villains by Queen of the Stone Age, and A Deeper Understanding by The War on Drugs.
I like Villains.
I've learned to appreciate where Ginger Elvis decides to take the band, Queens of the Stone Age, but yeah, the trying to do the dancey rock shit, I don't know. It seems like he's trying too hard. Like, I get it. That's his thing. He's got the desert sessions where he gets musicians from all types of, different genres and throws them in a room and records them and all that shit. And so he wants to be the eclectic, kind of aloof, acerbic rock star. But I'm like, bro, you're not Fred Astaire. Stop dancing in your video, dude. I mean, you're a 50-year-old dude who's trying to dress up like you're 25 still. Stop it. It's just... Josh Homme isn't going into later part of life gracefully, in my opinion. But that's just me. I'm really harsh on him because I want Caius back, but that's never going to happen, so no need to talk about that. He will never be broke enough to need Caius back. He will never get with John Garcia and Brant Bjork and Nick Oliveri ever again, period. And that just grinds my gears. It sucks. Now, alternative music. See, I've heard of all these bands. You got Everything Now by Arcade Fire, Humans by the Gorillaz, American Dream by LCD Sound System, Pure Comedy by Father John Misty, and Sleep Well Beast by The National. The National and Father John. The last two I've heard of those guys.
Heard of 2/3 of that list.
Yeah, but I don't know those songs. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
definitely not the Gorillaz' best work. What were the other two again?
Everything Now by Arcade Fire and American Dream by LCD Sound System.
Sterling Heights' own Arcade Fire.
I think that's true of all three of those. Then, I mean, those are all three good artists that did not produce their best work last year.
I mean, here's my guess. Like, okay, right here, best metal performance. I'm guaranteeing maybe best rock performance or best alternative, album, whatever will make it on air. But I like things like best metal performances, all that stuff. I don't see it making it on air because it's like Invisible Enemy by August Burns Red, Black Hoodie by Body Count, Forever by Code Orange, Sultan's Curse by Mastodon, and Clockworks by Meshuggah. So I don't think most of top 40 love in America gives a fuck about any of those bands. So
no.
That's not going to be on air. But yeah, and then that's rock. That's right in, quote unquote, my wheelhouse, and I'm batting a little bit over 500. You get outside of that, I don't know who half these fucking people are. I mean,
I don't even know who in the hell you are.
The Weeknd? I don't know who you are.
Weeknd? He's all right. He's trying to be the new Michael Jackson.
I mean, I know two people in the R&B category: Bruno Mars and Musiq Soulchild. That's it.
Yeah. Musiq Soulchild still around?
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. PJ Morton, nope. Ledisi, nope. Daniel Caesar, nope. And rap is pretty much just rap is pretty much the best rap performance nominees is pretty much just Song of the Year almost.
Oh yeah, I must have missed this. Cardi B is in there with best rap song.
Yeah, Bodak Yellow, Bounce Back by Big Sean, 440 by Jay-Z, Humble by Kendrick Lamar, Bad and Bougie, Migos featuring Lil Uzi Vert. So, there you go, folks. To me, this is just further confirmation that I did not need, that I am no longer in the Grammys target audience.
Yeah, same here. Well, didn't we do it like the first year we were on the air? I found my line in the sand is 2010. After 2010, I have no idea what's going on. A bunch of names start showing up that I'm like, who's that? In like 2011. Like, I don't know who these people are.
Like 2005, 2006 it was for me, if I remember correctly, when we talked about that. So, but I mean, once again, like Aaron, like you just said, you said you've never really been in the Grammys wheelhouse.
Right.
Or in their target audience.
Because I like music in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like if you're hurting because you haven't had your fix today, you take shitty step-down heroin over no heroin.
I think, honestly, if there was ever a time where I thought the best album produced of that year actually won the best album award, I would just fall over dead. It's never been anywhere close to that, but that's just my opinion.
Well, yeah, and I don't know. The older I get, the more I'm just like, it almost should be, shouldn't it? Isn't it based on popularity mixed with sales, mixed with being a critical darling? You put those three things together.
Politics. Don't forget about that.
Politics, yes, yeah. And yeah, you put those ingredients together in a bowl, mix them up, and there you go. That's going to be the foundation of who they're going to nominate are people who at least touch on 3 out of the 4 is my guess. Because there's a lot of fucking music out there that seems like it's just apolitical. It does not want to be political in any way whatsoever. And I almost begrudgingly respect that at this point, because if you just want to put out music, let the music speak for itself, and you don't want to carry fucking a flag or, you know, buckets of water for any political party or ideal, I got to kind of respect that. I mean, just like I respect people who, I don't give a fuck if this hurts my sales. I'm going to stand up, say what I believe. I may not agree with them, but it takes balls to do that, because you're just watching those bags of money fly away, especially in today's climate. I mean, Kid Rock's playing the NHL All-Star game, and people are losing their minds about the shit. And I'm like, really, Kid Rock? Because he's a Republican? I saw a tweet where somebody said it was like another way for the NHL to show that they don't care about blacks and minorities, is having Kid Rock play the All-Star game. Get the fuck out of here. I wanted to be like, what's your handle? Not signed, not a hockey fan, not a sports fan. NHL in the last 10, 15 years has gone out of its way to try to appeal to quote-unquote urban youth, as far as kids' soccer leagues, stuff like that, donations of equipment, because hockey is fucking ridiculously expensive to play. You think football's expensive with pads and uniforms and all that shit. Go be a hockey goalie. I mean, just the pads for your legs could run you a couple grand. So, I mean, that's just one piece of equipment that you're going to need. And if you're a kid, what do kids always do? Outgrow shit. So, I mean, it's not as cut and dry as that person was wanting to make it out to be. Why are there more black people in the NHL? Well, first of all, where did hockey start? Canada. Africa. Oh, wait. Everything started in Africa. And I mean, excuse me, I don't know the statistics, but what is it? Blacks in America are, was it 17, 18% of the population? I'm willing to guess it's lower than that in Canada. Just saying.
My imagination of African hockey is like so racist. I'm picturing them like playing with like the big witch doctor masks on.
What, you think everyone's dressed up like a Scooby-Doo villain?
Yes.
The witch doctor chasing them and shit? No. That is not a goal. That is not a goal. What are they hitting? What are they using for sticks, and what are they hitting in your imagination?
I didn't get that far.
Is it like a human? Is a human skull? Yes, a shrunken human skull. It's a shrunken head, and they're literally using sticks with a little bit of curve at the base.
They smack around a fertility goddess. It's kind of round.
Oh Christ! Well, anyways,
did you guys see that thing that I just posted?
Does Steve Bannon know about that?
They just put up a story while we've been recording. I'm like, they're not even trying anymore, are they? They're so leaning into this. The story about the headline is cuckolding can be positive for some couples, study says.
Oh my God! Do I even want to open this can of worms? No. Okay. We're already 2.5 hours in. All right.
Yeah. Just worth noting.
I can say this right off the rip. I didn't even get to the end of the first sentence, and they're already in our current political climate. The term "cuck," short for cuckservative.
No, it's not. What?
No, it's exactly. It's fucking not.
It's short for what is in your headline? Cuckold.
You know. Yeah, I'll respect your wishes, Chris. Okay, let's just. I guess we're gonna wrap it up.
Also, calling somebody a cuckold is a slur.
Is a slur.
That's what they say in the second sentence there. The slur has its roots in the concept of cuckolding or having an adulterous partner.
The slur with its own tab on Pornhub.
Well, I guess, bastard it's considered a slur now, even though it's just a term to describe somebody who grew up without a father.
Now you're just reminding me of the fucking Unky Herb episode. Hey, Mom, when's this bastard gonna show up?
Isn't it technically a child of two unmarried parents? Yes. And Bart just starts singing "Bastard" for the next 30 seconds.
Right.
Bastard, 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 bastard.
Well, wait a minute. Wasn't it Homer when he met his brother who worked for the auto company? He's like, "Saw your kid's born in wedlock." He's like, "Yeah, but the boy was close." Didn't he say that?
Yes.
So, all right.
Yep.
Alrighty. So, as I tend to say so many times when in this position, who the fuck knows what'll happen by this time next week? Stay tuned for an all-new round of crazy, wacky hijinks.
Keep your eye on this fake missile alert thing.
From Donnie John and his merry band of pranksters. Good Lord. We are literally only a year in.
Oh, God.
Anyway, thanks for listening.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get over this article. Here, let me pull it down. I might involuntarily say something that'll spark another half hour if I don't.
At Unregimented Pod on Twitter. Email the show unregimented at ChristopherMedia.net. Yeah, I don't know. I was going to make some snarky missile type comment, but fuck it. It's late. See you next week.
See ya.
Later, guys.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook by searching for Christopher Media. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. And thank you for listening. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
What makes Fairway the most unique market in New York City? We provide the best selection, period. 60 varieties of olives, 70 custom roasted coffees, 80 selections of fresh fish. Fairway, like no other market. Visit your local Fairway today. What makes Fairway the most unique market in New York City? We provide the best selection, period. 60 varieties of olives, 70 custom roasted coffees, 80 selections of fresh fish. Fairway, like no other market. Visit your local Fairway today.